Hi, this is Erin Lincoln back with another Make It Monday. Today we are working on this card, and if you notice, there's an impression plate technique there on the yellow. Half of it is impressed and half of it isn't. I'm going to show you how to do it. It's very easy. Alright, get your impression plate of choice. I'm using polka dots, and adhere it with painter's tape to the back of your Cuttlebug plate. You want it as far back as possible so you have room on the front of the plate for your actual project. This doesn't hurt your plate at all, and it comes off really easily. Painter's tape is a good staple to have in your work area. Here's my little yellow panel. And I'm going to use the linear lines in the polka dots to line it up and keep it straight. It's just a good guide. Now I'm using whatever I have on hand. I usually have some post-it notes. If you notice, it's way too big for going through my Cuttlebug, so we're just going to cut it. I'm a firm believer in using what you have on hand. So see, two different size post-it notes. It's what I grabbed. This one needs to get trimmed down too. And the sticky side goes from the plate, Cuttlebug plate, to the impression plate, and it holds the yellow piece of cardstock in place. Those are our embossing mats. It goes right up to the edge of the plate, the impression plate. That's important. Run it through. Okay, and then just take away the post-it notes. Because of the pressure, there might be a little too much stickiness, but this is on the back of your piece, so it doesn't matter if you get a little scarring when you get that adhesive ripped off. There you go. You see the polka dots on half of that yellow piece of paper. Fabulous. Now the edge of the impression plate leaves like a crease or a line on that panel. So what do I do to make it look like it's more intentional is I enhance it with a little bit of scoring. Gives it a professional look. Looks like it was meant to be there. I usually do a double line about 1/4 of an inch apart. More like 1/8. I think it's more like 1/8. There you go. You can see a double line and the impression of the polka dots all on the same piece of paper. And there you go. I mean, really, you could stop watching the whole video. You know the big technique here. I used it up the first thing. But if you want to hold on and see the rest of the card being made, stay tuned. Corner rounder. Putting that aside. Okay, this is fillable frame number 4. The die cut and the stamp using fresh snow ink. It's really hard for me to line up my stamps and my dies while filming a video. Usually what I do is I am like directly over that block and that die, and I can't do that with the camera in the way, so we're just doing one example here, and the rest I have done already, so we don't have to struggle with this. But I think I do a good job. Now the fresh snow ink is wet at first, and I'm going to take advantage of that quality and use my finger to kind of smear it and make it look kind of distressed. And at the same time, taking that wetness away, I'm kind of rubbing it in, and it's rubbing into my finger. Just takes care of it without having to get the heat gun out, and gives it a nice polished look. That star prints, a star with the star die out of pure poppy ink on craft cardstock. Love my glue sticks, even dollar store glue sticks. I think that's Big Lots. It's amazing what you find at Big Lots. Adhering that right to the fillable frames 4. Now I want to layer some buttons, and I pulled a pure poppy button and a white button, and I made sure they had 2 holes each instead of one with 2 and one with 4. It just makes it easier when you're threading them and lining things up. I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter. It gives you a little less of a headache. Tying that up. Now I learned things from these Make It Monday videos too, and to adhere this to my card I'm using squirt tape, and instead of using my scissors I'm just ripping it. So I can thank Dawn McVeigh and Nicole Heddy for showing me that trick. Oh, and Lisa Johnson did it too. We learned so much from each other. See, just tearing it. Who'd have thought? There you go. I love layered buttons like that. Now we're just going to adhere to our yellow panel, and I'm going to make sure the corners of that frame line up to the double lines that I scored. Just kind of a visual thing. This is a spring rain panel. I want to put my sentiment there. This is Birthday Basics. I know everyone is using Inside Out Birthday right now, but you might want to look at Birthday Basics too, because there's a lot of phrases you can use for the inside of your cards, and several happy birthdays in different fonts and sizes and styles. It's a favorite of mine. I've used it a lot. It's worn out. Alright, and if you know from my example, you see there's going to be a polka dot image on both the blue and the red. It's a little tricky to line up, so I'm going to show you how to do that. We're using bitty background blocks, the polka dots. Now be careful with your stamps when they're brand new. They're very super sticky. There's the acrylic carrier sheet in between, but you have to be really careful when you're prying those two sides of the CD case apart. You don't want to rip anything. Alright, I'm using my acrylic block as a guide here. You see how it's in the corner of the red? I have it lined up. And that's where I want my polka dot, halfway, right in the center of the blue. So when I take it away, I can use the edge of my acrylic block to line that stamp up where I want it. Because this isn't a true background stamp where it's a longer length, this technique of lining it up on the acrylic block is going to come in handy, because I want it on the other side to give the illusion that it is a long border stamp, and it's not. And it helps me line it up so those two squares, even though they're a couple inches apart, are now lined up at the same time just by paying attention to where the corner of my block was. Yep, did a good job. Here's my blue panel. I'm going to make it look like I stamped on the red onto the blue. There you go. And on the opposite, I'm not too concerned about lining it up on this blue piece because they're so close together I can eyeball it myself instead of using the block as a guide. So that's why I'm paying no attention to where that block is. Okay, I actually make a mistake here, and instead of editing it out, I wanted to show you how to fix it. If you look, there is a blue edge there. I didn't get that stamp all the way over to the edge. So I'm just going to take some scissors, a ruler, and a craft knife and trim it off. Problem solving on your feet. And now it works fine. I didn't have to re-stamp it, which is great. That's what it looks like. We're missing our glittered 4 though, if you remember from the original. So once we get this adhered, we're going to do that glittered 4. I kind of have a little green technique for you, keeping it all green. Green as in earth friendly and not, green in the color, no spring moss or a ripe avocado, but green as in earth friendly. There's my 4. It's not glittered yet. It's cut from the by the numbers dies. What I do, instead of throwing out my phone books, these are kind of my spray mats. I use spray adhesive for stuff like this, and it protects my work surface from the spray adhesive. And there's, several hundred pages in a phone book, so I can do this several hundred times. Transferring that to post-it note stack, and phone book goes to the side. Pouring out some glitter. Just adhering my flat panel now to A2 card. There's no rhyme or reason why I'm doing this in the order I did. You know, I could have adhered the 4 beforehand. Okay, now I'm just trying to test out where I want that 4. I don't want too many colors showing through on that little 4 window because I think it's kind of distracting and it breaks up the flow. At most, I want 2 colors showing through, preferably 1, but that's not going to happen on this card. Just a visual thing. That's where it's going to have to go, all the way over there. I don't want red, blue, yellow, and craft showing. We're just going to have the yellow and blue. Again, some very sloppy glue sticking. You know, 4-year-olds getting this, they're not going to really look too hard. It actually doesn't show. There you go. You can see the technique there that we learned at the very beginning, there on the yellow. Go ahead and try that at home. It's actually really fun and very versatile. I use it a lot. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll hope to catch you next time. I hope you learned something interesting. See ya.